Welcome all. Now we are dealing with the Karikas from Agama Prakarana of Mandukya Upanishad. The last, in the previous class, I think Binduji covered few after a 10th and maybe the 11th Karika a bit. Especially, I think that today's Karikas are very, very important. Probably, if we can able to reach that 16th and 17th anadi maya supto yada, that one, and prapancho yadi vidyet nivarteta na samshaya maya matrabidam dvaitam advaita paramarthata. So most beautiful uh, aspects of this Upanishad. I think definitely by going through these karikas we will be able to understand the real heart of Gaudapada. So, without wasting much time, I request Bindoji to continue with the Upanishad talk. Uh, Thank you, one and all. Thank you.
ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्यासम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः सुष्ठुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्ताक्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्ददातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः प्रज्ञानां सुप्रदानैः स्थिरचरनिकरव्यापिविर्व्याप्य लोकान् भुक्त्वा भोगान् सविष्टान् पुनरविधिषणोद्वासितान् कामजन्यान् पीत्वा सर्वान् विशेषान् स्वपिति मधुरभुङ् मायया भोजयन्नो मायासङ्ख्यं तुरीयं परममृतमजं ब्रह्म यत्तन्नतोऽस्मि यो विश्वात्मा विदिज विषयान् प्राश्यभोगान् स्तविष्टान् पश्चाश्चान्यान् स्वमिति विभवान् ज्योतिषा स्वेन सूक्ष्मान् सर्वानेतान् पुनरपि शनैः स्वात्मनि स्थापयित्वा हित्वा सर्वान् विशेषान् विगतगुणगण पात्वसौ न तुरीयः ओमित्येतदक्षरमिदं सर्वं तस्योपव्याख्यानं भूतं भविष्यति सर्वम् ओङ्कार एव यच्छान्यत्र कालातीतं तस्योप ओङ्कार एव सर्वं ह्येतद्ब्रह्म अयमात्मा ब्रह्म सोऽयमात्मा चतुष्पात् जागरितस्थानो बहिःप्रज्ञः सप्ताङ्क एकोनविंशतिमुखः स्थूलभुक् वैश्वानर प्रथमपादः स्वप्नस्थानो अन्तःप्रज्ञः सप्ताङ्क एकोनविंशतिमुखः प्राविविक्तभुक् तैजसो द्वितीयपादः यत्र सुप्नो न कञ्चन कामं कामयते न कञ्चन स्वप्नं पश्यति तत् सुषुप्तम् सुषुप्तस्थान एकीभूतः प्रज्ञानगण एवमानन्दमयो हि आनन्दभुक् तैजसो आनन्दभुक् आनन्दभुक्त्रतो मुखः तैप्रज्ञः तृतीयपादः एष सर्वेश्वर एष सर्वज्ञ एष अन्तर्यामी एष योनिः सर्वस्य प्रभवोऽप्ययो हि एतभूतानाम् न अन्तःप्रज्ञं न बहिःप्रज्ञं नोपैतप्रज्ञं न प्रज्ञं नाप्रज्ञं प्रज्ञानघनम् अदृश्यम् अव्यवहार्यम् अग्राह्यम् अलक्षणम् अचिन्त्यम् अव्यपदेशम् एकात्मप्रत्ययसारम् प्रपञ्चोपशमम् शान्तं शिवम् अद्वैतम् चतुर्थं मन्यन्ते स आत्मा स विज्ञेयः These are the 7 mantras we have covered till now. And in the Karika, following the 7th mantra, we saw that how Gaudapadacharya is explaining the Vishwa, Taijasa and Prajna and what are the roles and how they have to be understood to understand the Turiya. So we are on the 13th Karika where it is saying Dvaitasya agrahanam tulyam ubayoho prajnasturiyayoho bija nidra yuda prajna sacha turyena vidyate. Now here Dvaitasya agrahanam. Dvaitasya means of the two. Agrahanam means non-comprehension or not knowing the reality. Tulyam means is equal. Ubayoho prajna turyayoho, for both the prajna and turya. Now here when he says that prajna and turya, the agrahanam is tulyam, means non-comprehension is there even in turya and in prajna. Prajna is standing for the deep sleep or the where there is no knowledge of anything existing. So dvaitasya agrahanam. So the absence of anything other than that is tulyam in the prajna turiya. There is commonality between prajna and turiya. So therefore many people have misunderstood that prajna and turiya are the same. That in sushupti we are all becoming realized souls. No, that is not the case. What is saying that? In the second line he clarifies that bija nidra yuta prajna sacha turyena vidyate. The nidra is in the sushupti avastha is considered to be the bija or the cause or the seed for jagrat swapna sushupti. Such a state of causation is not in the turiya. Such a turiya na turyena vidyate. That is, there is no such causation or causality in the turiya. Because the normally what happens is that we have been told by the different methodologies in our prakriya for Advaita and explanation of the other Upanishads. There are different methods which are used depending upon the quality and the capacity of the students. Whereas in the Mandukya Karya, they have the Mandukya and the Karikas. There is no, words minced for telling the truth. It is direct, and if one can understand the direct import of the mantras, then there is no need of any upadhi or any prakriya. Like, the Viranya, Hiranyagarbha, Virat, then Akasha Sambhuta, Ahasha is Prana, Akasha Vayu, Vayu, Agni, Apaha. Akasha, the sky to, the different levels of progression of creation is given in the Taittiriya. And there is a Panchikaranam Prakriya, Trivitkaranam Prakriya, or Panchakosha Viveka, the 5 sheets, etc. In different methodologies are used for people who are not able to have very fine, subtle thinking. But in this case, where you will see that in the 13th mantra, Gaudapada is very clear. Agrahanam tulyam dvaitasya. The non-apprehension of the duality is equal for prajna turyayoho. In both the cases of and prajna, both of them do not comprehend anything other than that. But there is a difference between them, which is the potency in the form of knowing nothingness. That knowing of nothingness is the potency where something can come out, which is in the case of gross and the subtle of Jagrat Swapna. That type of a situation or that type of a causation is not Turiya, because Turiya is never a cause for anything. Now, if you look at it really, there is in the 5th Adhyaya Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says that Naiva kinjat karomi yukto manyate tattvavid Pashyan Shrunvan Sprutan Jigwan Nasnan Gachan Shopan Shotan Pralavan Visrujan Grannan Nimishan Nimishan Napi Indriyani Indriyeshu Vartanda Iti Dharayan Brahmanya Adaya Karmani Sangam Tektva Karoti Yaha Lipyade na Sa Papena Patma Patram Ivambasa. That is just 8th, 9th, and 10th slokas of Bhagavad Gita, 5th chapter. That he is also talking about Brahmani Adaya. Sangam Tektva Karodiha Lipyate na Sa Papena Patma Patram Ivambasa. Like a lotus leaf, even though born out of the muddy water or where the lotus is being born, Ambujam is the name for it because of the born out of the Ambu. But even while living in it, it is never getting wet by the water in which it is growing or which is being water is tossing it up and down by life. The vagaries of life is throwing it up and down in the waves form of waves, or the leaf will move up and down. Even droplets will flow over that, and yet it cannot wet the leaf of the lotus. Same way, all these actions which have been told, like Pashyan, Shrunvan, Jagan, Chetnan, Gachan, Prastan, Indriyani, Indriyeshu Vartanda, Iti Dharayan. These are all the functions of the gross sense organs and sense, both cognition as well as action. These are all by the Indriyas and not by me. The one who, Yaha Dharaye, one who knows this as that reality, he is untouched by the whole thing. This is exactly what is the state of Turiya. All the association which we have within the Jagrat and Swapna and even the knowing of nothingness of the deep sleep never touches the Turiya. Therefore, Sacha Turiye na vidyate. It doesn't exist in Turiya. Then what does Karika says further? Swapna nidra yudau adyau pratnyatu swapna nidraya na nidram na evam cha swapnam turye pashyanti nishchita. The Swapna Nidra Yudau Adyau. Adyau means Swapna Nidra Yudau Adyau Pratnya. Pratnya is the one which is before Pratnya, there is the Adyau which is called Swapna Nidra. Now the association with the dream and deep sleep. Here dream means you have to take not only dream and waking both are combined together as a, which is a Anya Grahanam. That acts, comprehending something other than the observer and the observed. That aspect is there in both the dream and waking. So the first two associated with the dream means dream and waking and sleep. But Pratnya is the dreamless sleep or the without that even where there is Agrahana. There is the Bija Nidra Yuta is where that in the previous Karika it is said, no? There is totally Agrahanam in the sleep. But the one who knows beyond the deep sleep, the Turiya, Turyena Pashyanti Nishchita. Nishchita means Nishchitaham means those who have confirmed or have got the conviction or the understanding of what Turiya. Nidram na eva cha swapnam turyo na pashyati. The dream and waking of the subtle and gross worlds and the non-apprehension of the deep sleep. They realize that doesn't touch the Turiya state. Therefore, Turiya is untouched by all these things which are being experienced. In the 14th Mankarika, he says, Anyadha grannatha swapno nidra tattvam ajanata viparyayasve tadyo shine turiyam padam asnude. Now, how to attain the fourth or the Turiyam, which is the Turiyam Padam, that exalted awareness or the purity of awareness. How can one can reach Tayoho Shine? They have to become Kshina means dissipated or emancipated or destroyed completely. Viparyase Tayoho Shine. When both the apprehension and non-apprehension is removed, then Turiyam Padamastude, then you are in your Turiya state, in our state of Turiya. Before that, what he says, Anyada Grannaso Swapna Nidra Tattvam Ajanada. In the Swapna means Swapna and Jagrat, Anyada Grannada. He is knowing other than the knower there in both the waking and the dream. Whereas Nidra in the deep sleep, Tattvam Ajanada. Even though he is the most closest state which can one compare it, but there is that not knowing of the state of Turiya. Because it is still looking for something and says that I know nothing. But it is not able to drop the aspect of I have to know something, I don't have to know something because there is no activity in me. I am neither the doer nor the thing. This can happen only when the knowledge arises. Tattvajnana deva. So when Tattvajnana doesn't take place in the Sushupti, what happens is that the expectation of some experience as a form of a seed, but not experiencing anything in the form of a seed, it is present in the deep sleep. Whereas in the case of gross and the subtle of both waking and the dream, there is always an experiencing other than the knower. So there it is a matter is different. He can no way know in the waking and the dream about the state of Turiya. But even in the deep sleep, he is not able to know the Turiya because of the aspect of expectancy or the potency to know something. And that expectancy is the reason why we are being thrown into waking or dream from the deep sleep. Because we carry on that expectancy in us as a seed to know something other than that. There is no need to know anything. There is in reality there is nothing there, which in the second half of the Karika it will come later why it is not there. But here we should understand that this potency is the reason why even when we are in the closest proximity, we are not able to grasp the Turiya state, or we are not knowing what is our reality. The Chandogya Upanishad said, when if you are in the deep sleep, you are Sati Sampadya. You have become one with the Sat. The Sat here is the Turiya. Sati Sampadya na viduhu Sati Sampadya mahe. We are one with the existence, consciousness aware, Satchitanandam or Satyatyanam Brahma or Turiya is the reality in the state, in the deep sleep, but na viduhu. We are not able to know Sati Sampadya mahe. We are one with the Turiya because we carry the expectancy to know something, which indicate very clearly the moment you drop, that is that viparye tayo, when you drop the intensity or intention to know something other than you will never know Turiya. To know or to be Turiya, you have to stop desiring to know anything, because it is not a knowledge which will expose the Turiya state. It is your own reality. You can never know yourself. So to expect to know yourself, I should know Atmatjnanam, I should have an experience of Brahman, I should have an experience of Turiyan. These are the expectancies which are keeping us looking outward or looking for experiences. What does the Karika second aspect say? Viparyaye tayo kshine. When that gets kshina or destroyed or removed or completely dissolved, turiyam padam asnude. That is the time when you are really turiya state. The knower and knowing and known becomes one. So how can there be a knowledge or an experience or the experiencer, experience and experienced becomes one? How can there be an experiencing? No. So it is very clear, Anyada Grana Swapna Nidra, Tattvam Ajanada in the deep sleep, and Viparye Chine Dwe Tayoho. When these expectancy to know, experience something, when it happens, then Turiyam Padamasnude, we are in that, because we are even now at this very moment, we are that. Now he explains further that, which Jadavedji was telling about the very important thing. Anadi Mayaya Supna Yada Jiva Prabudyate Ajam Anidram Aswapnam Advaidam Buddhyate Tada. Anadi Mayaya. Anadi means na adiyasya saha. That which doesn't have a beginning. Because we do not know when the ignorance has set in. Even in our day-to-day life, the ignorance of not knowing something, we do not know when it started or how it came or from where it came or how the beginning or the cause we do not know. So it is beyond the causation to know where from where the ignorance has come. So that which cannot be called as a beginning or a causation is defined by the word Maya, because it is experienced at the same time it is not there. A cause which is being caused, which can cause something to experience at the same time, the cause itself is not reality. So how can an unreal thing can create a cause? But therefore it is called a Maya. Maya Disney Yana Vidyate Sa Maya. That which is in. Like darkness. For example, darkness is not a vastu or an object, but everyone has an experience of darkness. If you have an experience, it has to be something which can be experienced. Means it is part of a subject and object. So darkness is an object and we are the subject who is experiencing the darkness. But is darkness a real thing? No. It is the absence of light, what we call it as darkness. So, and the darkness can cause problems like fear, misapprehension of seeing a post as a ghost. So many things can happen. So that is not the thing. So Maya, even though it is not real, we do not know when it started, so therefore it is Anadi. From that Suptaha, we are in that deep sleep of the Maya, which is in our deep sleep also. In our deep sleep also, we do not know when did the ignorance of the deep sleep set in, or the deep ignorance appearing to be present in the deep sleep. Even though there is no ignorance in the deep sleep, the appearance of a deep sleep, like because it is not there, therefore we are feeling the absence of knowledge as a ignorance. Agrahanam. That is the word used by Shankara and Vartikakara, everybody. That non-apprehension is called the Maya in the Sushupta, Suptaha. Yada Jiva Prabudyate, the moment the Jiva, which thinks I am the one which is going through the cycles of day, waking, dream and deep sleep, and I am the one which is aging, associated with the body, therefore it is called a Jiva. As the Jiva Prabudyate realizes what? I have no birth, ajam. I don't have even what is called the sushupti or the nidra, or the anidram. Aswapnam. Swapnam here includes both jagrat and dream. Both gross and subtle world also is not there in me. So neither the waker, nor the dreamer, nor the deep sleeper, and I am not the one with the body which is dreaming deeply. I am going to dream and working and deep sleep also. Even the body is because I associate with the instruments. which I told you about the Gita shloka. The one indriyani indriyeshu vartante, it is because we are all using those instruments in the waking. We see the gross world. We are using a different sets of indriyas in the dream. So we see a dream world. When both these are not used but expecting to know something, we are in the deep sleep. So we have an agrahanam there or non-comprehension in that dream. So there is no birth, ajam, anidram, there is no nidra, and asopna means the jagrat sopna api nasti. There is no jagrat in sopna. Then what is that? Advaitam. There is only non-duality of turiya. Buddhyate tada. That advaitam is the turiya, turiyam padamasnude, which has been told in the previous karika, is that padam is called the advaitam, which is explained by ajam, anidram, asopnam, advaitam. Buddhyate tada. Buddhyate means it is realized at that moment. When I know that I am not the one which goes through the birth and death, and I am not the one who is sleeping, I am not the one which is experiencing the waking and the dream. This is all related to the instrument through which awareness is projecting. Therefore, identifying with the instrument, I feel that I am the waker, I am the dreamer, I am the sleeper. And when that is removed, then Advaitam Buddhyate Tada. That is the time when we realize what is our real nature. Now, here a logic is given by Gaudapata Karya. Prapancho yadi vidyate nivartate na samshayaha. Maya matramidam dvaitam advaitam paramartata. Prapanchaha yadi vidyate nivartate na samshayaha. If something is real, it can be destroyed and removed. But if something is not real, how can it be removed? For example, let us say the snake appearing on the rope. No technical or any other method you can physically separate the rope and the snake from that and say this is the rope this is the rope, this is the snake which I have removed from the snow. If it is real, if there is a real snake lying on the rope, you can separate them. But if the snake is unreal, how will you separate it? Same is the case if it is a ghost or even the water in the mirage. How will you remove the water from the mirage if it is not real? No way we can bring it. And even darkness, which is now equivalent to the avidya, maya, avidya. Ignorance, how will you remove the ignorance? Can you separate out ignorance from the knowledge? No, because ignorance is a non-existing thing. Knowledge is the reality, which you can see that knowledge of this, knowledge of that, knowledge of oneself, knowledge of everything related to the knowingness is possible. But the not knowingness is not a object or a vastu or a thing which can be mixed up or separated with the knowledge. The absence of light is the reason for darkness. Now you cannot catch hold of some equipment by which you can suck out the darkness from a room. All you can bring is the light into the room and the darkness goes by itself. Because it was non-existent in the first stage. So a non-existent thing, you won't find the ash or the dead body of that darkness lying in the room when you bring light. No, it is non-existent. Same is the case with the ignorance. Right? Ignorance or the delusion or the misapprehension which we have about our own nature or our own reality is in reality a non-existent thing. The cause for it is non-reality. And a non-real cause, how can it create a real cause? If it is appearing to be real, it is also part of the unreal which is appearing as real for the time as long as you don't know about it. The moment the knowledge comes, the unreality also goes. the reality also goes, because it is created by the unreal. The ignorance created the snake on the rope. The bringing of the ignorance to reality of the rope, then the moment you know the rope as the reality, you didn't have to do anything, great to kill the snake and remove it from the rope. No, all it happens by default, by natural process. Same way, prapancha yadi vidyate, if this gross world which we are experiencing is in reality, it is there, we can remove it, separate it from whatever may be our experiential point of view. Nivarteda, na samshaya, you can do it. There is no doubt you can remove it. But maya matram idam dvaitam, this apparent duality, which is separated, like I am there and the world is separate from me. This dvaitam, which is that the observer is separate and the observed is separate, or the knowledge knower is separate and the known is separate, this is due to the maya matram, or the ignorance, or the avidya, which is anadi. We don't know when it started. Advaitam paramartada, the reality is only the non-duality. The known things, the objects what you see, the object and the subject are nothing but the same. It is the mud and the pot are nothing but essence mud only. One side you call it as a lump of mud, one side you call it as a pot because of the name and the shape of it. Same way, in our experience, the entire experience is knowing. If we really look into it, it is the knowingness is the essence of anything which we call it as an object. The object doesn't become an object until we know it. So the moment we know it, even what is we call it as I don't know it is also I know it as not known but as unknown. Even unknown is within the known only, but you don't know specific, so you call it as unknown. There is nothing other than knowing or knowledge or known in both the cases as the subject and the object. The subject is also, I am the knower, is also has the term know in it. The known, the object, is also part of the knowledge. So what is actually is in both sides is nothing but Advaitam. The non-duality of the knowing or awareness is percolating from the knower, the intermediary space and the object. Everything is in the awareness. That consciousness or awareness or knowingness or whatever term you want to use, the words are incapable of expressing that. But once if it is not there, neither the knower is there nor the known is there. For example, Sushupti, in the deep sleep. The knower as the knowing principle is not there in the deep sleep. Therefore, the objects of the world, that is why we say, even when I am sleeping, the world is there. How can you say the world is gone? Because for the world to be known, the knower should be there. It is part of the knowing process. You cannot have a light from a torch go separately without the torch. You cannot go the sunlight coming out the sun separately traveling and to project something. It is a continuity which is when it is there, it is the unbroken santati is the word used in the Karika. That like a river, it is continuous from the sun to the objects when it is enlightening the objects. Nobody can even assuming that it is, like when we are using a syringe, we can throw a bit of water, it will go separate from the syringe and it will fly in the air and fall in another object. But in the case of light, you can't do that. You can you cannot show the torch for a minute and the light, we will not see the light going from the torch separately. Same way, subtler than the light and the water is, the light is subtler than the water, therefore we are not able to see. Subtler than the light is the light of knowledge, or Atma Prakasham, or Jnana Prakasham, what we call it as. That is percolating through, in and through everything at all the time. Sarvam apnoti sarvashaha is what Chandogya says. It is spreading and percolating through every atom and iota or molecule, whether you call it by modern terminology also doesn't matter. It is in the knowledge what everything is existing. That awareness, if it is not there, whether it is an atom or a molecule, electron, proton, neutron, or light, or waves of light, water, everything, the animal, the elephant, the planet, the cosmos, the stars, you name it. For them, and you are that, the moment you are an experiencer of that, you are one with it. But the apparent separation between the I am the knower and that is the known is the Maya Matra. That is the reason why we have the duality. Maya mitram idam dvaitam. This duality, idam dvaitam. In the idam means everything is included. Maya matram is purely due to the Maya or the ignorance, dvaitam. Advaitam paramarthata. The reality is Advaitam. There is no Dvaitam at all. He is very clear from the Karika. Vikalpo vinavarteta kalpido yadi kenachit. Ubadeshat ayam vada jnade dvaitam na vidyati. Now, Vikalpo vinivarteta kalpido yadi kenachit. By kenachit, by somebody, if the kalpita vikalpa, the imagined worlds of subtle and gross, if we say that the subtle world and the gross world is imagined by the one who is projecting it. Upadeshat ayam vadaha. Due to the advice of this Upanishad, if it gets removed even in one person, kenachit, even in one person, if it is somebody, it gets removed or division can go away, that, the Dvaitam. Dvaitam is kalpitam. It means imagined. In what happens is that in the moment that you hear the reality and you are able to apprehend the truth which is being told by this Upadesha, by this Jnate Dvaitam na vidyate. The one who knows the reality, for him there is no duality. Dvaitam na vidyate. There is no separatedness. He sees it. Yatra na anyat pashyati na anyat shrunoti na anyat vijanati. Anyat pashyati. He doesn't see anything as other than himself. Anyat shrunoti. He doesn't hear anything as separate from him. Anyat vijanati. He doesn't see anything know anything other than himself. Sarvam apnosi sarvasha. He is the one which is in everything. He feels the wholeness or the purnada. Purnamada purnamidam purnat purnamudachyate purnasya purnamadaya. That mantra is telling the same thing. So, jnate dvaitam navidyate. So, therefore, the maya matram idam dvaitam will go only jnate. By knowledge only this duality can go, because it is a creation of ignorance. So the creation of ignorance can be removed, like the darkness is the absence of light. The absence of light can be removed only by bringing light. Same way, the absence of the knowledge is the creation for the indriyas in the waking and the dream to project the worlds outside, and even in the deep sleep, expecting something to happen as a seed, is because the knowledge of the reality is not shining within itself, oneself. The moment from this Upadesha, this advice or this mantra from the Upanishads, if it is understood properly, Jnade Dvaidam na vidyate, there is no way in which one can get into the state of, ignorance again. Now, in this one, now there are three mantras, which are four mantras, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Four mantras following this Karika, which is in the sense that if you look at it, the first mantras of the Upanishad, what does it say? Om, Om, what does it says that Omitedadaksharamidam sarvam tasyopa vyakyanam bodham bhavat bhavishyati sarvam omkara eva. So it started with Om iti aksharam, sarvam omkara. So this Upanishad starts with the two aspects of it. One is method of using omkara, sarvam omkara eva. And the definitions of here in the first mantra is that Om iti aksharam is Brahma, which includes Bhudam Bhavat Bhavishyat and Escha Anyatra Kaladitam, even beyond the three states, is Tatyapya Omkarayava. So there is one aspect which the Upanishad nor the Karika has till now touched upon. Where does the first mantra is explained is a question which can come to our mind. Because the second mantra is what was straight away taken by the Upanishad as well as by the Karikas for explanation. Sarvam hi etad Brahma, ayam atma Brahma, soyam atma chatushpa. So this Atma and Brahma is the one, ayam atma Brahma, and soyam atma chatushpa is that four chatushpad into method of knowing is by dividing it or understanding it as four-folded, not four-quarter. But this mantra, which when second mantra is the complete explanation till now what we have understood and we have discussed it in detail. So the Upanishad, knowing very well that the really matured and intellectual student who has all the capabilities to understand would have understood what is to be understood, and jnade dvaidam na vidyate. For such a person, there is no duality, there is no confusion, he is very clear from what is to be understood. But Upanishad being very benevolent in its nature, he has put first mantra itself, keeping in mind so that even if there is a border student who is not fully prepared, at the same time he has all the capabilities, but with a slight push he can understand. To retain him to listen and understand this Upanishad, the first mantra itself gave the tip saying that Om ityeda aksharamidam. So to know what is this Om, how is the Om becoming Brahma, will be the interest with that student which is on the boundary between these two states of, the exemplary student and the mediocre student. There will be in between the mediocre and the excellent, there will be some students who knows something to know about Omkara, will be waiting eagerly for knowing something. To catch that type of students who are looking for the Omkara is the beginning of the next mantra or the eighth mantra, which is saying that Soyamatma Adyaksharam Omkaraha Adimatram Pada Matra Matra Cha Pada Akara Ukara Makara iti. Soyam Atma Saha, this Atma which we have told till now from the second mantra till the previous Karika, mantra of up to 7 and explained by Gaudapada in his Karika up to the 18th Karika, is that Sayam Ayam Atma. Adyaksharam Omkara. That is the first word, Omkara. Adimatram pada matra. Matra cha pada. Akara, ukara, makara iti. Now, it has to be divided into matras. Matras means measure. Manam is the word used for measure in Sanskrit. Matra, tral pratyaya and this. So matra means measure. Pada means quarter. So the pada and matra is measured by the quarter by using the word Omkara. So Omkara has got the four quarters, not for Atma, because that is the Adyaksharam Omkara. In the Omkara, just as we have the four quarters in the Omkara, we should not confuse that Atma also has got four quarters, which is the Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti and Taijasa and Turiya. No, that is a totally a different concept which we have to understand it as that, which will be now explained using the same word Omkara for those who want to meditate upon Omkara, and what are the benefits are being explained in the subsequent mantras and the Karikas for the detailed purpose of it. So those who have not understood the Upanishad and the Upanishad mantra till now get an opportunity to meditate upon the Omkara using the same methodology. What is the relationship between the Akara, Ukara, Makara and Jagra, Swapna, Sushupti and Turiya is now being explained by the four mantras called from the 8th mantra, 8th, 9th and 10th and 11th. And then Gaudapada explains them in the Karika form after the 11th mantra. Before the 12th mantra is the final mantra of the Upanishad. After which also there are Karikas following that. So now we have to enter into the four mantras, which I would like to take it in the next class because each one of them is connected with the other one. So if I start the mantra now, 8th mantra, I may not be able to complete 9th, 10th and 11th. So I will take the 8th mantra, 9th mantra, 10th and 11th mantra together in the next coming Fridays same time. And this will be that you will understand that relationship between how the Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti and Turiya and Akara, Ukara, Makara and Omkara, how does they two can be compared or how it should be understood, and how one can do the meditation on that is explained in the detail. We will deal it in the coming Friday session. So I'll stop here now. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you. Dhanyawad.